This is what it's like to fly on the world's most crowded airplane. And I'm taking this flight just after getting caught in a 6.9 magnitude earthquake in the Philippines. This is Cebu Pacific's A330-900neo, featuring an amazing 460 seats on board. Compare that to any other airline operating the same type of plane, and over here in the Philippines, they've managed to fit over 100 extra people on the aircraft. This certainly gives you a lower carbon footprint per passenger and allows the airline to serve more people, but what's it actually like on board? Well, today we'll be flying from Cebu to Manila to find out. But let's start off with the check-in process at the surprisingly efficient domestic terminal of Cebu Airport. While our Cebu Pacific flight would only be taking us to Manila, once at Manila Airport, we'd have a relatively tight connection where we'd have to switch terminals. So although when flying Cebu Pacific, it's generally easiest just to check in their app, I wanted to see if we couldn't get away with taking our slightly oversized bags on board to avoid having to wait for them to come out once we'd reached Manila Airport. And don't even get me started on what it's like when you have to switch terminals over at Manila Airport. We'll look at that later in the video. Alright, so we were hoping maybe we could actually just bring the luggage we were going to check on board.
Your adult for your hand carry is 7 kilos.
Yeah, okay, this is more than 7 kilos for sure. Can you prioritize the delivery because we have a very short connection for Manila Airport? Okay, thanks.
For your checking baggage, please make sure no gadgets, battery, power bank, light, and
All set, all set.
hand carry on, no liquids sa baba na and no sharp objects.
Gotcha.
So did you feel the earthquake last
Oh
time?
yeah.
How are you? Are you good?
We're good.
I've been shocked, but
Yeah, it's the biggest earthquake that I've ever experienced. How about
Where
you?
did you stay?
Fairfield by Marriott, do you know it? Fairfield?
That Mandawi City.
Mandawi City, yeah. You know it, okay.
Yeah, I know.
How come? A lot of people stay there? Or?
Yeah, it's a known hotel also.
Ah, okay. It's pretty new. Yeah.
But no damage. Are you all safe?
They're pretty damaged, that hotel.
Yeah.
A lot of
It
cracks
was
in the walls.
cracks,
Yeah.
yeah.
Same here.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Also has a damage, minor damage. By the way, do you already have your boarding pass online, right?
I do, but if you could print it, that would be like nice for us, if possible.
Can you disregard your boarding pass online?
Okay, yeah, sure.
Thank you so much.
Can you change seats for us as well, or? No, okay, no problem, no problem.
Sorry.
So that's gonna depart at 6:30. It looks on time, right?
It looks on time.
It looks on.
Hopefully on
Okay.
time.
You think there's a high chance it's gonna be delayed, or?
I don't know, but we're
Yeah.
praying. No delays, no cancel.
You're praying.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're also having a hard time if it's delayed, cancel.
Yeah, of course.
So
460 seats.
it's a massive aircraft.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
gonna give you and just wait for a while.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Okay, doke. Thank you. Salamat.
Salamat and amping. That is take care for Bisaya.
Ah,
Amping.
ampeng.
Yeah. Thank you so
You as well.
much.
Okay,
Thank you.
so.
After a pleasant enough stop at the check-in desk, security went by super fast. Once airside in the domestic terminal, I took a little walk around. I can see another airline's flight is already delayed to Manila, so I'm a little bit concerned about my own on Cebu Pacific, but we'll see. As for the terminal itself, it is a little bit older than the new international terminal next door, but everything's well maintained, and considering the massive earthquake that had struck the night before, things were surprisingly calm. Plus, if you're so inclined, you can dig into a little bit of the local specialty, lechon. I'd say whole roasted pigs in an airport are a pretty rare sight. But for my dining and relaxation, I decided to head into the Plaza Premium lounge for a while. You can get in here with priority pass, but just note that they have a 3-hour limit. I wouldn't label it exceptional, but outside of the funky odor coming from the bathroom, it was a pretty good lounge. For a priority pass lounge, the food selection was good and the internet was working. What more could you ask for at a domestic lounge? But after a little quality time over at the lounge, boarding has begun, and our gate is just over here, gate number 11. So, the most crowded airplane on Earth, at least as far as commercial flying goes. What's it like on board? There's lots of people in line, but boarding is going really fast. We've actually got boarding group 2 on our boarding pass, but we came to the gate a little late. They're already on boarding group 3. Nice, thanks so much. And Cebu Pacific is kind of known for being strict when it comes to baggage enforcement. You can see there's a few people there taking an extra look to see if your bag's not at least appearing to be way too big. Here we are, you can see our Cebu Pacific A330-900, and honestly, I'm kind of excited to get on this beast right now. I've heard about it a lot. And just rolling down the jet bridge now, nice little view with Emirates 777. DHL plane and our beautiful, beautiful Cebu Pacific plane. We'll be sitting in row 21 with a window and middle seat. But when it comes to seats, there was a bit of a hidden fee. Later on in this video, we're going to address how much we paid for our tickets to fly and what the fees are like on Cebu Pacific, because there are a lot of them. Hey there, we've got JNK 21.
All right, second
Other side.
answer.
Thank you, ma'am. Hi, sir. How are you today?
Good. How about you?
Good.
Are you a vlogger?
Exactly. Yeah. I've got a YouTube channel.
Oh, what's your YouTube channel?
It's David G Travels. Yeah. John, nice to meet you.
To prevent items from falling.
And here you can see, truly packed. And it looks like I'll be in the middle seat. The worst seat on the plane, you could say. And the leg room, well, it's definitely more leg room than Ryanair. Partially because A330-900 is just like a bigger plane, a wide body. But yeah, as far as baggage storage area goes, my bag fits okay, but my wife's area is a little more crammed. So, just put it up here for the flight. And yeah, kind of as usual in Asia, the boarding's going fast and smooth. And you can see it's 3 seats here, 3 seats in the middle, and 3 seats onwards over there. You've got a fair amount of rows towards the very back of the plane that have like a 2-3-2 seating setup, but you've got to pay extra to select those seats, and then there's a few more rows like that in another part of the aircraft towards the front. So really, just after boarding, waiting for a lot of other people to board still. My first impression is super positive, honestly. This legroom, like I was saying, is okay. You even get charging ports down there, which probably the majority of low-cost carriers around the world just don't even have. Hello, how are you today? Got a camera, just so you know, if you don't want to be on it, let me know. Okay. And last time I checked the seating chart, it was like a half-empty flight, so we'll see if that stays the same or not. And yeah, if this flight's not that full, then we might move our seats around a bit. But if not, for a little bit over an hour flight, this seat is going to be A-okay, for sure.
If you are seated next to an emergency exit, read carefully the passenger briefing card located by your seat. If you do not wish to perform the functions described in case of emergency, please.
And we boarded so fast that we're just kind of sitting here waiting for something. Basically our slot to take off, I would guess. So I figured I'd come back and check out the restroom, which is, at first glance on camera, it might look unbelievably small.
To give you an update, we're just waiting to finish our cargo loading, then we'll be doing a final tally count of our passengers. For your flight details, our flight time for today is 1 hour. We'll be climbing to 34,000 feet.
All cabin doors are now closed and safe.
Hi. Thanks. But boarding is now complete, and we've even gone through the safety announcements. Just that our slot's been pushed back about 10 minutes, but we should still be set for an on-time arrival over at Manila Airport. So let's see what Cebu Pacific is like in this big and fully packed airplane. And is it a coincidence that my wife's initials happen to be part of the tail number of this A330?
I ordered.
Is this really your plane? Oh. And just while we are waiting for air traffic control to let us push back, keeps feeling like we're going to push back, but then we don't. Cebu Pacific even has a nice in-flight magazine, and it has a map of their routes. So there are basically 3 long-haul flights they operate, one to Sydney, one to Melbourne in Australia, and then one to Dubai. Those all are flown on this aircraft, but they also have a bunch of shorter flights flown on this aircraft, like the one I'm taking today. So of course, if you're looking at like an 8 or 9 hour flight, it's going to be a little bit different than this, just because you're going to be in your seat for 8 or 9 hours instead of 1 hour. But we have just started pushing back, and it gets dark here really fast. In the Philippines at like 6 p.m. every night. Right now it's about 6:40 p.m. But I think with my new DJI Action 5, we'll actually be able to get some nice night footage of the takeoff and hopefully the landing in Manila, unless it's cloudy over there. And we're going to be doing it with a whole row to ourselves. Let's go. Oh yeah, and over there as we're passing by the different planes parked at Cebu Airport, that's a United plane parked over there. It's a 737, and they now have, I think it's 5 times a week flights between Cebu and Tokyo Narita. That's a cool route to check out too. Okay, so seatbelt sign is off, service has already started, and this is a low-cost carrier. You've got to keep that in mind. This is not a full-service airline, or like what you get on Philippine Airlines if we're comparing airlines based in the Philippines. If you want to eat or drink something, though, they've got a ton of different options. As far as I can tell, not even water is for free, but they've got 4 different bundles here. It's like Bundle A, Bundle B, BFF Bundle, and Happy Hour Bundle. And they're all just like $5 USD. They're not really that expensive. It's quite reasonable. They actually have like a really extensive menu. I didn't even realize this, but there are like tons of food options. Assuming they have everything. Maybe it's the A330-900. They actually have enough space to have everything available and microwave it real quick for you. Just assuming they have it. It's all pretty cheap if you compare to any other budget airline I've ever flown, really, for the amount of food you would get. And I'm not gonna lie, if I was in this middle seat with someone on my left side too, especially someone who's not like really small, it would feel a little bit cramped for a longer flight. You can see this is pretty much what the seat would look like with the tray table out. And then the only thing I'm not really quite liking so far about the seating setup is that you can see this is like right in the middle of where whoever's sitting in this seat would have to put their legs. So it's just like, that would be uncomfortable for more than an hour flight for sure. In that sense, maybe the middle seat's actually a little bit better. I don't know. Unlike some low-cost carriers, you get this nice net. I've got my thermos there, and like most low-cost carriers, there are no recline buttons, which I just love. So I'd say if you weren't spending some time in the lounge before, say you're not flying from an airport that has a good priority pass lounge like Cebu, whatever, then maybe you actually want to eat on board. It smells pretty okay, there's lots of options, and it's not that expensive. And the one other thing that's really standing out so far about Cebu Pacific is that their crew is all really kind. I mean, it's kind of a Filipino thing. It was basically the same story when I flew Philippine Airlines about a week ago, but everyone is just super welcoming, super helpful, and very respectful. And we're really just like maximum 20 minutes into the flight. The drinks and snack cart has already passed by where I'm sitting. Not right in the front or anything. And the world's crowdest airplane so far is turning out to be better than some other airplanes that don't have such dramatic names.
We're about 194 nautical miles southeast of Manila. In about 2 minutes, we'll be starting our descent.
But right before we started our descent, Cebu Pacific decided it was time for some fun and games.
For this games, we will be asking you questions, and all you have to do is raise your hand and give us the correct answer. Our first prize. Can anybody give us 3 destinations of Cebu Pacific that start with the letter C? Alright, we have a winner here in front. Alright, congratulations. We now have winners for our first prize.
Honestly, the Inflight game seemed like a really fun idea, but I didn't manage to see what any of the prizes were. If you know, definitely drop a comment below and tell us, what kind of prizes does Cebu Pacific give out if you get one of their trivia questions right? Hard questions. And again, this is only a 1-hour flight. We've just started a descent as well, so we'll probably land in Manila in like 25 minutes or so. But just one other thing that's really impressing me about Cebu Pacific is that they've somehow made the low-cost experience kind of fun. And I mean, there is no Wi-Fi on board, so there's no entertainment in that sense. I'm not sure if any of their airplanes are equipped with Wi-Fi, to be honest, but they do sell like fun little model airplanes and stuff like that too. And this is one of the only times that I've boarded an airplane and there was a child crying really loudly. And it just stopped because the atmosphere on board is kind of like not threatening, not annoying you like some low-cost carriers do, especially in Europe, and just somehow inducive to a good flight experience, even if you don't have like a ton of legroom or nice free amenities that you might get on full-service airlines. So, of course, yes, if this seat wasn't empty, I'd probably feel slightly different about my experience today. But even then, Cebu Pacific has something that European and North American airlines really might want to learn from. Well, particularly low-cost carriers in those parts of the world. But there is one area where I'm not sure I'd give compliments to Cebu Pacific. Now, I paid somewhere around $60 US, give or take, for my ticket, and I did book it quite last minute. I had a change of plans, so often you'd probably be able to get the same ticket for, I don't know, maybe $30 US, $40 US, and that's with a 20-kilogram check bag included, by the way. But Cebu Pacific is very, very sneaky when it comes to their website. when it works. Sometimes it seems like when you try to access their website using a Filipino IP address, it doesn't even actually work, but that's another story. When you go to book on the Cebu Pacific website, assuming you're not trying to book on a third party, which I usually wouldn't really recommend, you get kind of the same handful of options that most low-cost carriers give you. Basically, there's the most basic, super light, whatever you want to call it fare, where you don't get anything extra, and your carry-on baggage is limited, you don't get checked bags, and you can't select a seat. That fare is honestly quite reasonable on Cebu because you get 7 kilos of carry-on baggage, and the size limits are pretty reasonable too. But right now we're traveling around the world for 2 months, so our carry-ons weigh just a little bit more than 7 kilos, and they were like really testing the limit of the size limits. Let's put it that way. This is the whole breakdown of the price here. I can just put it up on the screen for 2 people. They sell a bunch of different bundles as well if you don't go for the most basic option, so my wife and I decided to go for one of their bundles. But it turned out there were some strings attached. Now, I've literally booked thousands of flights before. This has never happened to me exactly in this way, at least. I selected my Go Easy bundle and then assumed, okay, it includes seat selection for the cheapest seats on the plane, which is fine. It's a 1-hour flight, but we don't really need to select our seats right now. I was a little bit in a rush trying to do something else as well. So I didn't happen to notice in the huge breakdown of all of the details of the price I was paying that they had added a seat selection fee and assigned us premium seats without us asking for them. Okay, on one hand, it was 232 Filipino pesos, which is like a few dollars. But on the other, they had actually assigned us seats that we would like never select on the plane. They're premium per se, but it was middle and aisle, somewhere in the back of the plane. And I'd say, to put it short, because we are about to land, the moral of the story on any airline, but especially Cebu Pacific, when you're booking, triple, quadruple, quintuple check all of the little charges in the fare that you're about to pay. You can get some really great deals flying Cebu Pacific, and the onboard experience, at least what I've experienced today, is pretty solid, but no one wants to pay a fee that they didn't sign up for. But sure enough, today we've got a clear sky and a very lit up city for some nice landing views. But there's one more thing at play here for our particular case with the flights that we're taking today. See, I said flights. It's not just this flight. We're actually about to connect onto 2 Japan Airlines flights, but we only have about 3 hours of connection time, and we're going to have to switch from Terminal 3 to Terminal 1 over here at Manila Airport, which sometimes can be a bit of a daunting task. So once we're on the ground, we'll see what that's like. Thank you so much. Have a good night. Deplaning is just slightly chaotic, but manageable. Not nearly the worst I've seen. My only issue is that we couldn't convince them to let us bring our bigger carry-on on board just because it's over 7 kilos, right? So right now, those bags are checked. We need to go pick up those bags, wait for them to arrive, of course, and then, only then, can we attempt to take the free shuttle bus over to Terminal 1 for our flight that departs at 11:25 p.m. Right now it's exactly 8 p.m. Let's see if we make it. It looks like there's currently a mix of 3 different flights bags coming out. And just our flight should be probably over 300 people that were on board. Of course, 460 seats. But let's see. The agent said she would try to help us have priority baggage, so maybe that'll help us out. Let's see. And if you are ever flying through Manila Airport, they've got kind of a problem with scammy taxis and stuff here. Terminal transfer is supposed to come every 15 minutes. Rumor has it might not actually come every 15 minutes, so we're gonna test that out. If it doesn't come fast enough though, we're gonna have to attempt to call Grab, which may or may not actually work from the airport because it might just be too busy, or get in a taxi, but very carefully. But now it's 8:19. We're still backpackless, and it seems like these bags are not even from our flight yet, just from the flights before us. And 25 minutes later, not even gonna turn this back into a backpack because I'm going to JAL to check it right back in. Here you can see it's the free inter-terminal transfer shuttle, but let's see if we can actually find the shuttle, not just the sign. Okay. 11, free terminal shuttle. There. I see the shuttle. is this one. And we've made it to Terminal 1 shuttle. Hi, Terminal 1? Okay.
What time your next flight?
Very soon.
What airline?
JL.
JAL.
Yeah.
Time is the time.
What?
What time?
The flight boards at 10:25.
10:25.
Thank you, sir. Hi, sir. So in the end, tracking down the shuttle was no issue at all, but you can see it's quite small. The seats were filled within a minute or two, and it seemed like a few passengers weren't even able to board. But we still sat around for a while before departing, with a karaoke soundtrack blaring over the speakers in all its glory. I would say it was a grand welcome to Manila, but literally everybody sitting on that bus was just about to leave the city again. On the way to Terminal 1, the shuttle stops at Terminal 2 and waits another 10 or 15 minutes there, regardless of if any other passengers show up or not. And the terminals are also super far from each other. You actually have to technically leave the airport and drive on public roads to connect between them. I'd honestly much rather 1 hour in the world's most crowded economy class than even 10 minutes in this sad airport shuttle. To say the least, I do not recommend bothering with the intra-terminal shuttle here. But then again, we made it to Terminal 1 in one piece and didn't have to pay for it, so it is what it is. If you like this video, go ahead and like, subscribe, share it with your people. And fun fact before you go, I did get something wrong in this video. I said the plane had 460 seats because of course I personally walked around and counted every single one of them. That'd be a normal thing to do, right? Anyhow, Georgia schools failed me and I can't count that well, so it turns out the plane actually has 459 seats. Huge apology to seat number 460 for never existing.